So that's Jacob the white belt. He signed up for a submission-only tournament, but his opponent didn't show up, so I had him tossed in with the blue belts. Let's see how it plays out. Alright, so right away Jacob pulls guard and looks to enter in on his partner's legs. Jacob gets both his feet to the inside and collects an overwrap grip on the leg he is looking to attack. Ideally, Jacob would be grabbing behind both his partner's elbows to help with the elevation, but since his hands are already connected to Jacob's head, when Jacob commits his back to the mat, his opponent will have to go for a ride with him. We're going to ankle lock city, pal. Once he gets that elevation there, Jacob begins to attack the leg by acquiring an overwrap grip. No, Jacob. Alright, so he'll collect the overwrap grip as he's rotating. Jacob, if you don't get that fucking overwrap grip. So Jacob starts working towards his overwrap grip there. The ref gets in the way, so we'll speed it up here a bit. There you go, bud. Jacob has upgraded his overwrap grip to a figure 4 and is looking to finish the match with an ankle lock. Oh, it's tight. But the foot's starting to slip out there. So Jacob lifts his hips and concaves his chest, which allows him to get a better bite on the foot there. Then he's going to reconnect his hips to his partners, and with the foot secured, Jacob gets the tap. Now we're in the semifinals. Let's see how it plays out. Oh, he's quick off the block. We'll fast forward through this first sequence. Jacob is using his collar tie to break his opponent's posture so he can set him up with a cross snap. Jacob is going to step his leg back and look to snap his opponent's head below the line of his armpit. Bingo. From here, he uses his collar tie to guide his opponent's head to his right arm and then slaps that sucker in. Immediately, his opponent sits to his butt and begins fighting the hands. But with his hands occupied, it will allow Jacob to begin flanking to his left. From here, his opponent does a good job of turning on his hip and trapping Jacob's foot so he can begin a knee-elbow escape. But Jacob is aware of this and looks to use the foot his opponent has trapped as a hook and begin to chair sit and take the back. But what Jacob doesn't seem to be aware of is that he needs to connect his hands so he can maintain a good chest-to-back connection. But it's fine, because they don't call him Sticky Jake for nothing. I don't even think it's really a reference to his jiu-jitsu. Jacob does a good job of retaining his guard and hits a forward shift. From here, Jacob controls behind his opponent's elbow, looking to force his hands to the mat. And then Jacob hits him with the gooch gooch to bring his hips close to his opponent's. He sacrifices the space behind him to elevate his partner's hips directly over his hips. Target acquired. Jacob then collects an overwrap grip. He's always nailing that grip, you guys. And enters a Rimiashi. As his opponent's hips hit the mat, Jacob has already transitioned to a figure 4 and gets the tap.
That's Jacob the white belt, aka Sticky Jake, the savage sandbagger.
Now we're in the finals. Hit it, me.
The fellas start with some hand fighting. Jacob's opponent slaps in a strong collar tie. As Jacob looks to remove it, his opponent sees an opportunity to take a penetration step and hits him with a double leg. But in the process, he compromises his own posture, leaving his hips behind his shoulders, making it easy for Jacob to collect his grip for the ghillie. From here, his opponent needs to get both his legs on the opposite side of his head to defend the ghillie. But Sticky Jacob makes disengaging from his legs quite difficult, elevating his opponent over his right shoulder for a potential sweep. His opponent does a good job of maintaining his base and clearing Jacob's legs, but in the process sinks his neck deeper into the ghillie. His opponent still needs to get by Jacob's bottom right knee, but Jacob does a good job of posting on his hips, preventing his legs from entering the space between Jacob's knee and elbow. From here, Jacob's going to look to hook and then trap his opponent's leg, but as he goes for it, his opponent tries to backstep again, and we essentially get a repeat of the last sequence. But this time, Jacob focuses on getting a solid knee-elbow connection and then releases his grip on the neck. His opponent tries to pressure through that knee-elbow connection, but that's a strong connection, guys. From here, Jacob looks to re-guard and potentially snag up an armbar, but his opponent is wise to it and pulls his elbow out. So Jacob bails to the turtle position and his opponent looks to take his back. To do this, he's going to attempt to connect his hands, but Jacob does a good job of hand fighting and not allowing him to do so. As Jacob looks to build height and get back to his feet, his opponent makes a crucial mistake, and he tries to shoot his arm over the top of Jacob's shoulder to threaten a strangle. This will allow Jacob to pummel his arm through this gap and enter like a quasi-double leg position. From here, Jacob needs to drive over his right shoulder and put his opponent's hips to the mat. Once on top, Jacob's going to look to use his hands to control his partner's legs. Jacob, that's not what I said. Watch the elbow. Watch the elbow. Get your elbow out of there. Pull the old elbow out. Okay, a minor hiccup there, but we're just getting our feet wet. Keep an eye on that elbow next. No, Jacob!
Will Jacob escape the dreaded armbar? Will his coach ever give him his blue belt? Find out on the next episode of Kaizen Ball Z. Previously on Kaizen Ball Z. Jacob made it to the finals only to find himself caught in an armbar. Can he escape the treacherous submission? Find out now.
Boom. And we're back. Jacob's going to step over his opponent's torso, denies him a good angle on that armbar, and gives Jacob time to rotate his elbow and pull that sucker out. Then Jacob sits to his butt and starts playing his guard and is going to lean in on that ankle lock game. Psych! Jacob's going to take his left arm and he's going to look to punch that sucker under his partner's right arm. And then he's going to take his left knee and drive that guy across to the other side. But he starts to lose his underhook because his partner sits that pesky knee shield back in the way. Now I got a little trick for this. The key is verbal kazushi. You have to make some sort of declarative statement to throw them off. And that'll give you your opening. That'll set up your timing. Finally. And usually after you nail the pass, it's important you gloat. A little bit of gloating goes a long way in terms of solidifying your pass. With his underhook negated, he's going to transition to controlling his partner's head, preventing an immediate regard. From here, he's going to pass that control off to his other arm. And now with the free arm, he's going to block his opponent's near side hip. With the hip block from here, his right knee is going to collect the space under his opponent's near side arm. And then his left knee is going to replace his left arm so that he can use it to control his opponent's far hip. From here, he has control of all four quadrants and looks to drive his knee across his opponent's belly and take mount. Jacob is going to get control over his partner's left wrist, and then he's going to pass it to his other hand. What am I looking at, Jacob? I forgot. This is something Jacob's been working on, alone, by himself. I don't know much about it. He just walks into the center of the mat and starts yelling, "Cobra Claw!" Luckily, Jacob releases the Cobra Claw and starts working on a more conventional C-cup grip and uses that to begin raising his opponent's elbow. With the elbow raised, he can weave his hand under it and through that gap to the other hand, connecting a figure four grip. We got a stop at Americana City potentially coming up here.
Can Jacob finish the Americana? Will he be forced to use his forbidden Cobra Claw technique? Find out next time on Kaizen Ball Z. Last time on Kaizen Ball Z, Jacob offered his opponent a lift to Americana City. Will he accept Jacob's cordial offer? Find out now.
So Jacob's locked up this Americana, and he's going to begin to test his opponent's shoulder mobility. Pretty good. It's pretty good. From here, Jacob's going to sit back and look to separate his opponent's wrists or elbows from his torso. He does this by pressing at the end of the lever that is his opponent's wrist. As he presses on the wrist, his partner has to lean in the opposite direction to avoid his wrist being pinned. So as he does that, Jacob's going to redirect his pressing into the same direction his opponent is pulling. Wrong. I would prefer Jacob to be more at the end of the lever. He has one hand there on the elbow, which isn't really doing much, but he does have his other hand right there at the end of the wrist. That's usually enough to get the job done. Now he's going to do a pass off from his left hand to his right hand. Wait, he's getting ahead of yourself there, Jacob. Looks like he's trying to take the back, but he has not connected his hands, and he has a very poor chest to back connection. We'll see how this plays out. Not super great. Jacob's going to grab his opponent's head and get back to mount, and we're going to try it again. Jacob pins his wrist, and now he's going to look to connect his hands and really focus on that immaculate chest-to-back connection. So he slides his knee up, wedging it under his partner's back. Jacob, your chest is so far from his back. Even though his hands are connected, he has no chest-to-back connection, so his partner's going to be able to slip that left elbow. He starts slipping it, and he's about to turn into him, so Jacob, thinking quickly, goes back to mount, and we're going to try it again. Third time's the charm. Third time's the charm. For sure. If you botch this one, Jacob, it's mop duty for a week, dude. All right, this is looking a little better. Jacob has his elbow well across the center line, which means, in a sense, his chest is closer to his back. He does a good job of wedging his knee under the torso there. And finally, we get to the back. Jacob shoots a strangle, and it looks like we might have it. Oh, it's looking tight. But his opponent still has both defensive hands in place, which helps enable him to tuck his chin and start turning back towards Jacob. Oh, I'm sure you're wondering why I have a calendar on the mat. Because it must be fucking Groundhog's Day. Did I say third time's the charm? Fourth time. Fourth time is the charm, Jacob. Yet again, the knee is wedged behind his torso. His hands are connected. His chest is still woefully far from his back. But undeterred, Jacob presses on. His opponent attempts to stop the back take by fighting the hooks, but this leaves his chin exposed. Since he has no defensive hands in place, Jacob can start shooting the strangle. At this point, his opponent stops fighting the hooks to get his defensive hands back in place. This time, time, Jacob does a really good job of posting on his opponent's wrist, and he's gonna press that sucker down. From here, Jacob's got a pretty deep bite on that strangle.
So deep.
So deep you can't even really see the wrist, but it's in there.
And I think we might actually have this one. Let's send it, Jacob. Just send it.
He's trying to default smash, so I start digging my underhooks. He's sitting up. Super Grenade! So you hit your chest, you're here, yeah, like that. Good, good. Pull that mango, yeah. And now from here. You got me. Close, close. I saw that butterfly hook. That's the problem. That's an excellent example of why you need to grab my shin. Because if you move, if you move this way without clearing my hook, you're gonna get off balance by that hook. What the hell? Nice. But now I'm in a bad spot. Yes, good. Good.